All right, let's give this a watch here. All right, this is going to be pretty cool.
It is time. Time to wake up to a new reality, to a blank canvas that I have painted in
beautiful
with
cinematic
warmth and peace. In my new era, the choice
I'll give
is
him that.
yours.
I'll give him that. This looks very good. I gotta
Whether
switch.
to live in quiet serenity
Headphones, I know.
or
No lose
bloody
top.
strife.
What I've heard.
To dwell in joyous prosperity or bitter rivalry.
Look, I'm excited for this. I really am. I think rebooting will
You can face each other as sworn enemies.
So like I said, I really don't get stoked about
United
cinematics. I
as
prefer,
brothers.
I want to see, gameplay. Show us the fighting, right? It's a fighting game. Show
But a
us
storm
the fight. And I'll
is
tell you,
brewing.
this trailer's going to get very gory,
And soon
but it's not going to
you
show
will discover
actual fighting game. It's just cinematically gory. It's just people
that
murdering
even
each other.
in this new era,
And,
one
warning, it's going to get
remains.
real gory.
There is always something worth fighting for.
I will not apologize. It's for
You
your
have
own
chosen
good.
to
It's for your
defy peace.
safety and protection.
Then you have
I had to put
chosen
that in there. I had to censor
with
it.
a god.
For your own good. Don't worry about this. Just all fun and games. All fun and games. All right. I had to censor that for your own. I had to do it for your own good, guys. I can't have you guys sitting through that, seeing all that nonsense. That just would not be right. Okay. Let's get into some of the quicker news. Showcases are upon us this summer. We got PlayStation Showcase into this month, May 25th. What are they going to announce? Who knows? But it's May 25th, 3 p.m. Central, 4 Eastern. It's supposed to be pretty good. It's going to be Wednesday, May 24th. There's apparently, like, the rumors everyone is saying online is that it's going to be really great, which, like, why would they say anything else? Right? Every time there's a showcase, that's like the rumor. And I'm not saying it's not going to be great. It's probably going to be really great. I'm just saying, like, acting like, oh, this one's going to be real good is what I'm hearing. Why would you hear anything else? I don't know. I've never heard anyone else talk about a showcase and been like, I heard this one's going to be shit. Not around PlayStation. I've heard it for others. I've heard temper your expectations for others before, but I don't know. They're probably going to show us some VR stuff. I couldn't care less. Yeah, I feel like no one cares. Like, everyone stopped talking about PSVR 2. We already know it didn't sell that great. Jim Ryan this week had kind of said, like, it's too early to tell if it was successful or not, which is corporate speak for, ugh, that didn't turn out so good. But they're also probably going to show some cool stuff. You know, we're going to see some Spider-Man. It'd be cool if we get Mortal Kombat 1 actual gameplay at the showcase. I think that's why they didn't show it in this trailer, because it's coming out September 19th. They got to show gameplay soon. I think it's going to be at this showcase, maybe summer showcase. Somewhere, though, it's going to be showing up. Beyond the PlayStation, we do have the Xbox game showcase after that, June 11th. That's going to be followed up with Xbox deep dive into Starfield. Hopefully that's pretty cool, but that's right after it. In fact, I mean, there is no E3, right? E3's gone. It's canceled. It's over. But if you look, we've actually got into May, you've got the PlayStation Showcase, and then really June kind of kicks it off. You've got like Summer Game Fest, June 8th, Day of the Devs from, which is sponsored by Double Fine, right? Every year. That's going to show off some pretty cool games. Then there's something called Wholesome Direct. I didn't even look into this, but I saw it listed on Games Radar as kind of like Summer Game Showcase thing. I wanted to bring it up. It'll be something. It sounds like it's going to be like farm sims and cozy games and like narrative. I don't know. Wholesome Direct. It's there. Future Game Show is very PC focused. Then you got the Xbox Game Showcase, like I said, on the 11th. You got the PC Gaming Show. You got Ubisoft Forward. And then there's Xbox Game Showcase Extended. They did that last year too, where it's like a longer format a couple days later, I think on the 13th, where they just go into more like dev diaries and interviews with the teams and really kind of get a little bit deeper into the games and the process behind them and what that's looked like, kind of beyond like just the hype moment of the actual like showcase a couple days prior. So that'll be pretty exciting throughout June. Just something to look out for. Beyond that, let's run down some quick news here. You guys know from a couple episodes ago, I've been trying to get back in the Division 2. Struggling to do that just because of all the new games coming out. Like when Zelda hit, I kind of dropped everything else. Street Fighter's coming. I'm already like I'm already feeling like I'm gonna have to start making hard decisions with games. I'm supposed to be talking about the Division, but this ties in. I feel like it's time to make hard decisions because, like I mentioned, I got the fight stick, which I'm enjoying showing off. I just like holding it up. It's so meaty. Like, you know, I always get new controllers, but rarely do I get something that like takes up desk space. That's a controller. Well, I don't know if it's supposed to do that. Can you hear that? It's like plinking. Ugh. But yeah, I'm very happy with this thing. What I'm saying is, I'm like, oh, I want to put in some time on Street Fighter. I need to finish Tears. I need to finish Tears of the Kingdom. I'm not going to finish anytime soon. If it's anything like Breath of the Wild, I'm going to put hundreds of hours into it over the course of like a year or two, maybe longer. I'll probably circle back to that game. But the point is, I'm going to put in a lot of time over the next month or so into that game. I'm working on Street Fighter as well. That's just around the corner, June 2nd. Now they're announcing like Mortal Kombat. I know Starfield's coming. You got Final Fantasy 17, Armored Core Sea of Stars. I keep harping the drum on this. There's so many games, and there's stuff that I don't even... Alan Wake 2? You know, I have a video on the channel about some of these, like some smaller games that are going to be popping off this year. I'm going to have to start making some hard choices. Some games are going to get dropped. And I got to be honest right now, and I'm looking at this summer, I think Final Fantasy 16's on the chopping block for me. Maybe I'll get back around to it. And that it might work out a little bit because, you know, if I wait, I could probably just get it on PC down the road in like a package with all the upgrades and stuff and all the DLC I'm sure is going to come for that game. But if I'm gonna really knuckle down on Tears of the Kingdom, on Street Fighter, and then be ready for September, big September, I don't know if I'm fitting in a game like Final Fantasy. I don't know. Maybe I will though, because maybe it'll be like kind of midsummer. These are tough choices. But anyway, that's why I haven't really been back on Division 2. I started doing the Manhunt. I fell off because it's like, am I really going to get back into this game when I'm already having tough decisions of what to drop? And so I saw this announcement where Ubisoft had mentioned, looks like this comes via Eurogamer, but speaking with the Division 2's creative director, Yannick Banchero of Massive, basically said there's not going to be native versions of Division 2 for Xbox Series XS or PS5. Obviously, we've seen a lot of games get those native version upgrades. Division saying we're not going to do that because they don't want to leave players behind who are still playing on the older consoles. Look, that tracks, all right. Division 2 has managed to hang on and have a life for a long time after. I think the devs have even said they weren't planning on supporting it more than 2 years. And now they're saying, oh, we got like this roadmap for like what, year 5 or something. Like there's more coming. Like I think this game has definitely outlived even the devs' expectations. And so I think you don't want to go ahead and alienate that kind of core player base that's still using it. And I bet anyone who's maining that game probably not in a hurry to upgrade hardware for the latest and greatest. In the majority, I'm sure there are outliers, but I'd say a lot of times when people main a game, I mean, you can see it like people who kind of main like one title or whatever, they're not always looking for like the latest and greatest. They're not the quickest always to upgrade. So it makes sense Massive wouldn't want to alienate that fan base and leave them behind and kill a game that is shouldered the burden of a smaller player base and just stayed alive. But it also means I'm less likely to go back to it when there's so much new and shiny popping out. Might go back for that descent mode, story mode. We'll see. But yeah, I think that's just that's where that game lies, and I might have to send it to the graveyard of unfinished live services. I always fall off live service games after a certain point. The challenge falls apart, right? Beyond that, wanted to bring up CD Projekt laid off 29 staff members from one of their U.S. subsidiaries, Molasses Flood. So the 29 included 21 U.S. employees and then 8 employees in Poland. They basically are kind of doing some restructuring. Molasses was going to be working on like a Witcher kind of spinoff type game. They laid off about half the workforce for that subsidiary studio. They had just purchased the studio at the end of 21, right when they were announcing like all like the Witcher style projects and just everything they're doing over there at CD Projekt Red. So they financially wrote off the dev costs of the project, about $7 million, and they're resetting it. And they let a lot of people go. So hey, wishing those employees the best. It's never great to see layoffs. CD Projekt seeming to have a little bit of trouble with development. I don't know. Continues the streak to me from Cyberpunk on, right? I will never forgive them. Let's go into this. Valve got sued by Immersion over Steam Deck and Index Rumble. All right, so they do use modern Rumble motors, but that might not matter. If you don't know, Immersion either created or purchased a ton of patents around like Rumble technology, and they sue everybody. They've sued Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. If you make a controller or something that rumbles, Immersion is going to sue you. They want damage, royalties, and injunction. Now, here's the thing. You might be thinking, oh, they just sue everybody and whatever, they'll fight it. Everybody settles. Microsoft settled with them. Sony settled with them. Nintendo, they invented their own Rumble Pack technology back on the N64. Remember those Rumble Packs you jam into the back of that 3-pronged 64 controller? That was a Nintendo tech, and so they had avoided the lawsuit for a little bit, but they still settled with Immersion for the Switch. So they have an Immersion license for the Switch, so it's very likely, most people are assuming Valve is going to settle. We'll see. It's interesting, this is a very interesting company that just goes around and gets agreements from people, gets that cut based off these patents they have. So we'll see what happens there, but just keep that in mind. Valve's getting sued over Rumble from Steam Deck, and the company suing them, Immersion, generally gets what they want. All right, moving on. I just mentioned Nintendo, and we're going to bring them up again because Zelda Tears of the Kingdom has surpassed 10 million sales in 3 days. Obviously, that's old news, but we only do this show once a week. I would have told you sooner if I'd been on here, all right? 10 million copies in 3 days, the fastest selling Zelda game of all time. And fastest selling Nintendo game in the United States. That's pretty dope. And that is just 4 million copies alone in America right there. Now, I'm assuming it's already blown past that number. I didn't check. I should have checked. It's been a busy weekend. Look at what's going on over here. This is what I did all weekend. Got my ass handed to me on a plate of shut the hell up, Jeff. Okay? So I didn't have time to double check all of this. But damn, 10 million in 3 days. I mean, Breath of the Wild, I think, is at like 30 million. Or like just sub 30 million. It might have been pushed over by this, but like a third of Breath of the Wild sales in 3 days. This game is going to the top, baby. I think this thing is going to be a powerhouse. And I'm having honestly, not only am I having a blast with Tears of the Kingdom, but it's also like, I'm having a blast watching the footage and the clips online. The stuff people come up with is so clever and creative. It blows me away. Every time I think I have like a cool idea, oh, I did this, that's pretty neat. I I see somebody built a fucking mech of destruction and is just rampaging through Hyrule, just like laser beams, rockets. I saw somebody built a flying drone that drops a land tank. And then they jump off, and the drone and the tank are operating together, shooting rockets and lasers. I haven't even got. I don't know how people play this game that fast. The creativity is mind-blowing. I think these sales numbers are totally deserved. Super exciting to see. Props to the team at Nintendo for this. All right, just wanted to touch base too before we get into like the big story here at the end. Wanted to talk about some games coming to Game Pass. If you have it, this is for you, PC or console. We've got Cassette Beast has already dropped on PC, but that is now joining console. Great looking little game. And then Ghost Lore, another one that had been in early access on the PC, is now dropping on console. This is coming from a Southeast Asian team. Really cool art style, kind of reminiscent of like early Diablo, little action RPG. I've got this one downloaded. It's only like a gigabyte or something. It was really small. Toss that on the console. I actually downloaded it on the PC like a month or two ago when it first dropped. Never got around to it. I figured it might be cool to play on the old Series X. And then also for console and PC, Planet of Lana is another really cool side-scrolling indie with a beautiful kind of painterly art style. I'm excited for that one. That's coming to the end of the month. And then FIFA 23, I believe is already hit. It's already landed. May 2023, and we got FIFA 2023. So continuing EA's 6-month schedule of dropping their yearly sports titles onto EA Play and thus onto Game Pass. There's a few others I don't care about. You can look them up if you are so inclined. Let's move on though and talk about, hang on, let's just pause for a second. I'm just getting beat. Whoever this player is playing Chun-Li, if you were watching earlier, I was playing someone else. I did a little bit okay. Chun-Li here, I get a couple wins. I get a couple round wins. I don't know if it's already happened, but I get a round win, and then they turn around and just lock me into the corner and just punish me. Ugh. I can't watch. Ugh. Look away. Look away. All right. Here we go. Let's get into the big story. Microsoft's times Activision Blizzard King. All right. Last time we talked, we were talking about how jolly old England town said, no way, Microsoft, no way, Xbox, you can't have it. You can't do it because cloud. We think, despite everything, pointing to the contrary, we think that it's possible Activision Blizzard King will go on the cloud on their own, despite them saying they will never see value in it. And they told Microsoft no, and they blocked the deal. But like a phoenix rising from the ashes, like a fighter slicing the swollen under eye and letting the blood flow, Microsoft stands back up because Europe has approved the deal with concessions. So Europe's thing is that Microsoft has to license ABK titles royalty free, just a free license to any cloud provider that wants it. Now, this is a bring your own game or bring your own license type deal, meaning if you own an Activision Blizzard King title, you can go pick the cloud provider of your choice, and that cloud provider can provide you ABK. Microsoft has to allow them to provide it. You still got to buy the title. This does not mean they can give you the game for free, but they get the license for free. If you notice, like with NVIDIA GeForce, titles have come on and come off as they work out like their licensing. It'd be the same for a smaller one, Boosteroid, which we all know about because Microsoft has been signing deals with like every cloud provider there is. So I think it's a win-win, right? In the sense that, yes, Microsoft benefits, right, from having their games on cloud. They're spending damn near $70 billion. Of course, they're going to benefit, right? But so do all these medium-sized cloud companies and smaller cloud companies, because now you have a built-in free product, right? If what you're selling is cloud access for people's game libraries, a big part for a lot of people is Activision Blizzard King titles. Now, how well is Call of Duty or WoW or, you know, a lot of these, or Overwatch, how well are these games going to translate to cloud? I don't know. I kind of think not great in the short term. Long term, who knows where they're going to get multiplayer in the cloud. It might become something that's very fine for casual audiences. However, titles like Call of Duty and WoW and these sort of games being available on cloud is going to drive a lot of attention to cloud. A lot of people are going to be willing to try it out. Now, the more people trying something, I think is good for the market overall. It's good for cloud. It's going to help push that part of it more into mainstream. We're going to see that technology grow, hopefully prosper. And look, as someone who lives in America, and I think most people who are like really into PC console gaming, wherever you are in the world, you're fortunate enough to have the means to have access to, you know, consoles or the PC, you know, and the funds to purchase games and to purchase this stuff. But if we're talking worldwide, cloud is maybe the best access point to get people to try some of these superior, in my opinion, superior like PC cloud or PC console games over mobile. I think this is a superior branch of the art form. It's like kind of like the pinnacle, in my opinion, what a lot of this stuff can do, what you find on consoles, even handheld consoles, over mobile, right? I think there's a lot of issues with mobile. So I think getting that into the hands of more people, and look, more people have phones, more people have tablets than consoles or PCs. This is really cool. I think this is a great step towards expanding gaming for everybody. That said, it's not a done deal. The UK still says no. They doubled down on it. They actually, the CMA from the UK actually tweeted out like, hey, yeah, great for the EU. They can decide whatever they want. We still think they're wrong. We disagree. And I don't think I've ever seen foreign regulators like that, like call out their peers. Interesting. I do think we're seeing the CMA a fairly, you know, since Britain or the UK left the EU, I think we're seeing some growing pains of like a newly empowered regulatory body and newly empowered bureaucracy. They're stretching their wings a little over there. They're kind of flexing their muscles. We'll see what comes of it, because on top of the EU clearing it, China has also cleared it, this time without concession. So, I mean, we know the FTC is suing to block this. They're very likely to lose in court, especially when Microsoft has said they're going to close over the FTC, which means the FTC will be forced to go to a federal judge and seek a preliminary injunction. It seems popular opinion is that they are not going to get that preliminary injunction. The FTC failed to get the preliminary injunction, trying to stop Meta from buying Within. After they lost that, they folded on the deal and dropped the suit. Obviously, this is a much bigger deal with a way bigger price tag, so they might dig in. The judge might decide to allow the injunction. We'll see. I think the point of saying they're going to close over, though, is that Microsoft wants to let that judge decide one way or the other, right? Because what they don't want is to get caught up in the FTC's internal court for a couple years before tossing it to a federal judge. By threatening to close over the FTC, they're kind of forcing it to go to a judge sooner. Now, they still have to get past the CMA, and look, I'm not British, so I don't know all the ins and outs of their regulatory process, but it seems, like I talked about last week, it's not as simple as just taking it before court. They have to go before this tribunal. They have to essentially argue on like the idea of procedural mistakes, right? A mistake in the process, and irrationality in the decision-making process. They can't just kind of go and get an appeal on the basis of like they got it wrong, you know, point blank. So tougher process there. I'm seeing a lot of people talk about the chances of Microsoft maybe withholding cloud or withholding parts of Game Pass from England, kind of carving out the business around the UK, or putting up a shell company there that sort of runs ABK independently. I don't know the likelihood of that or how that'll go. Satya Nadella was asked about it, and a lot of people are making hay over the idea. He was asked in an interview with blah, 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 blah. Satya Nadella, CEO of Microsoft, was in an interview with somebody more important than me was able to interview this guy, right? And they'd asked him if they would ever consider selling like ABK products in like Europe and the US, but excluding the UK. And Nadella said, let's wait for it all to play out. Now, a lot of conjecture and talk about what does he mean by that. I think what he means is I'm the CEO of Microsoft, and I'm not gonna answer hypothetical questions about ongoing international litigation that we're involved in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people are like, oh, what does he mean by that? I think he meant very politely, don't fucking ask me that question. Is my take on it. So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, in my opinion, I don't think there's too much to read into there. But look, with all of these approvals coming in, the UK is standing more and more on its own. We will see what happens with the appeals process and where they go from there. It's possible this happens in a much shorter time frame. However, the news is only going to increase as we get deeper into June. We're coming up on the deadline where Microsoft and ABK either need to extend the deal, one of them needs to pull out. Microsoft has no intention of dropping this deal. They owe a $3 billion breakup fee to Activision if this gets dropped. So I think they are going to want to hold on to this. However, that does put Activision in an interesting position where they can ask for a little bit of a bump up, right, on pricing. Now, I kind of dropped the ball on this, but I know Activision was getting sued by some investors saying that they didn't do enough negotiating with Microsoft to get the price up a little bit more, right? They gave Microsoft too good of a deal. They sort of rolled over and took the acquisition. I don't know how that played out, but it does make you wonder if Activision doesn't have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to maybe ask Microsoft for like, hey, can we sweeten the pot a little bit? You wouldn't want to give us $3 billion. I don't know. That's just me kind of running my mouth, kind of wondering. I found this whole process super fascinating to see the kind of the convergence of like international politics, tech companies, video game people passionate about video games. That's the thing that's the funniest to me, is you see all these like regulatory decisions and like you can go to like financial stock analyst pages now where of course they're talking about Microsoft trying to spend $70 billion to buy a company, of course, and who it's geared for, and you see like Gamer Rage 69 is like fuck the FTC, like like you're seeing like some dude in his basement in Milwaukee like opining on like how like the UK is crazy. And look, I'm very well aware that I'm that dude in his basement, not in Milwaukee, and this is not a basement. This is an office in my home. But I am that asshole sitting here opining about it, and I find that very fascinating and hilarious because I don't know if they understood how passionate people were going to be about gaming. One way or the other, right? Hate the deal, love the deal. A lot of passion here for tech. Not something you're used to seeing, right? Nobody was like getting really passionate about like Facebook buying Instagram on like the user level, right? Obviously that was a big decision. A lot of lawyers and pundits and stuff were commenting on that, but at the user level, people weren't like getting into like Twitter fights about it, which I think is interesting, right? If you're outside of the gaming industry, you don't really think about how large and passionate people are around this kind of stuff. But hey, this is the biggest, most lucrative entertainment industry in the world, bigger than movies, bigger than music, and Microsoft wants a bigger piece of that pie. I hold the same belief that I don't think there's a legal reason Microsoft should not be allowed to buy ABK. I don't. You can say big companies are bad, but that's ideology. That's not law. All right, I don't think it makes a monopoly in any way, shape, or form. I think they should be allowed to do it. Having said that, as someone who routinely plays Call of Duty with my friends, usually once a week or so, I am a little nervous about what they're going to do with it. Microsoft does not have a great current track record with AAA. Obviously, they put out games. I don't believe, Xbox has no games. They do put out games, but it's a lot of like AA or indie or smaller titles. And when they do put out AAA games, it's very hit and miss. Forza Horizon 5 is a phenomenal, awesome game. Redfall, not so much. Halo Infinite is a phenomenal playing and feeling game, but it was super lackluster in content at launch. It is still, years later, not quite where it needs to be. Like, it doesn't have Infection yet. I know that got announced, like Infection. Oh, by the way, yeah, Infection is coming to Halo Infinite, in case you were wondering. That's coming soon. But Infection, right? We were missing it. We only recently got Forge. You're just still missing so many things. There's no fire team, right? There's no... it is worrisome that Xbox could take their flagship title and launch it in that state, seemingly unaware of what it takes to be a live service game in the 2020s, I guess is how I'd put it, right? But they weren't ready. And I know they're doing some restructuring in that studio. Some people at the top resigned. I get it, but it's worrisome. The other thing that continues to worry me about this deal is when Xbox says they're doing this for mobile, I think you should believe them. A lot of people kind of laugh and go, no way, it's all about Call of Duty. Let me remind you, as I beat this drum all the time, Call of Duty is mobile. 650 million downloads for COD Mobile, $1 billion annual revenue. Call of Duty is part of that. It's about mobile for them. I really do believe a large part of this is mobile, and that's worrisome because when Xbox talks about 3 billion gamers, man, they are talking about mobile players. And that remains worrisome, is that I have no doubt that Xbox will shift more and more mobile if they think it'll give them money. Now, look, don't take it out of context. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm not saying that they are going to do that. But I'm saying from some of the things they're saying, some of the ways they're behaving, I think it's on the table. I think it's something to watch out for. You know, I still think that it should have got more coverage when EVP Sarah Bond from Xbox did that Rolling Stone UK interview and brought up the idea of, thinking about timed slices of games, and is there a place in PC console games for mobile style advertising? You don't put that in print in an interview like that if you're not actively having that conversation internally. Like, that's something they are thinking about, and it will work really well on the cloud for cloud users who are primarily mobile, right? If you want to get 3 billion gamers, you start getting your cloud games in front of mobile users. They're not going to skip a beat. They're kind of used to that. But it is going to have a big impact on PC console centric players. But we're the big spenders, we're the whales, but we are a smaller percentage population wise. So look, I don't know. Legally, I think they should be able to do it. I hope they make a bunch of cool games. But I hope they don't put advertising in my PC console games, because I'll be bummed, man. I won't like it. And that's all I got. That's it this week. Kind of light. Look at me in here trying. See, now I'm on the fight stick this whole time, so you know, right? This is not me with a controller. I'm not amazing with a controller, but I'm a little better than what you've been witnessing this whole time. But I wanted you to see me learning a fight stick, and I can do quarter circles and the Z input here in training, but the moment somebody jumps in and interrupts me and challenges me, swipes the floor with daddy. I'm daddy in this situation, in this context, okay? In every context. And that's gonna do it here for episode 11 of Press Pause. Thanks for tuning in. I'll check you next week. All right, get out of here.